AIS Africa Innovation Summit.
AIS Africa Innovation Summit. The city of Praia hosted an important summit on innovation in Africa in the first week of February 2014. African leaders were in Praia, Cabo Verde for the event, whose goal is to promote innovation as a key driver for socio-economic transformation in Africa. The event, organized by IHABA Building Enterprises, a Cape Verdean company, was a private initiative in partnership with the government of Cabo Verde, the African Development Bank, and the New Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD. It aims to insert innovation at the center of the African development agenda as the key instrument of competitiveness of African economies. The official opening of the exhibit, African Innovation, featured the distinguished presence of the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Dr. Antonio Correa e Silva, as well as the patron of the summit, former President of the Republic of Cabo Verde, Mr. Pedro Pires. The National Assembly of Cabo Verde hosted a diverse and rich program that featured a total of 7 plenary sessions, 17 workshops, where main issues on the transformation of the African continent were discussed. Among the many topics, some addressed the best practices in creating innovation policies, as well as the fundamental issues of education and innovation, entrepreneurship and innovation funding. The program also included an exhibition of innovations being made in Africa. AIS 2014 featured several special events, including NEPAD's workshop on STI indicators and measurement of impact of human development programs, and the session dialogue with presidents, which honored the city of Praia with the presence of President Jorge Carlos Fonseca of Cabo Verde and special guests, President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and the former President of Mozambique, Joaquim Chissano. The first edition of the Africa Innovation Summit was a bold initiative and a challenge set out by IHABA, which set as a priority the issue of innovation as a driving factor for development. Jose Brito and Olubenga Adesida, directors and founders of IHABA, presented the initiative, whose purpose is to place in the Africa agenda this important element of competitiveness that is innovation, taking into account that the African continent, by force of circumstances, has been concerned essentially in satisfying the basic needs of its population. In this sense, the Africa Innovation Summit creates a platform for dialogue and ideas conducive to the development of public policies and the creation of a favorable environment for innovation. The path of Cabo Verde over the past years allows it to aim towards playing a major role in leading the innovation agenda in Africa, especially since the country is heading into transition, forecasts of Jose Brito. The Africa Innovation Summit brought to Cabo Verde leaders of international repute, multinationals, financial experts, academics, members of governments, and heads of state. The opening ceremony featured the distinguished presence of His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Cabo Verde, and His Excellency Pedro Pires, patron of AIS. The participants, who came from over 30 countries, mainly from the African continent, gathered in 17 workshops for in-depth discussions on relevant themes for the sustainability and socio-economic transformation of the region. The exchange of experiences in the implementation of innovation as a transformative element, as well as the dissemination of examples of successes, were instrumental in the debate agenda. The communal and sharing atmosphere of the 17 workshops examined topics such as services, mobile technologies and electronic governance, transforming agriculture into a growth engine, facilitating innovation, hubs, parks and clusters, institutions that drive and support innovation, policies and regulation, building an enabling environment, innovation policy lessons from the global south, diffusion of innovation in low-income countries, education policies that promote STEM, learning beyond boundaries, research in African universities, challenges and opportunities, getting ideas to market and building successful firms, African success stories, innovative entrepreneurs, African culture as a driver of innovation and the creative economy, engineering financial markets to support innovation, innovative and non-traditional financing options, Africa Links, learning, innovation and competence building in Africa, and Ade's presentation of Cabo Verde's Venture Capital Fund. AIS is a public-private initiative that had the support of various partners, sponsors and countless contributors. IHABA would like to thank the instrumental support of all partners, sponsors and contributors for the achieved success of this first edition of the Africa Innovation Summit. IHABA thanks all volunteers, partners, interpreters, foreign and national journalists who contributed to the development and dissemination of this important event. The event was broadcast worldwide through live web streaming via the internet. A satisfaction survey conducted on the last day of the summit indicated that 97% of participants positively rated the event as excellent in quality and for the high-level speakers. 82% of participants are already committed to signing up for the second edition of AIS, location and date to be announced at a later date. The closing ceremony of the Africa Innovation Summit featured the presence of the President of the Republic of Cabo Verde, His Excellency Jorge Carlos Fonseca. The President praised the initiative, stressing that the summit was a timely and privileged space for the exchange of experiences and knowledge, with the goal of building a strategic network capable of engendering innovation and entrepreneurship essential to the development and future of Africa. AIS, Africa Innovation Summit.